All right, so we're going to get started with our very first session of our second day of Nourishing Spirit, Mind, Body 2020. Without further ado, though, I would love to introduce you to our speaker for our first session this morning, and that is Miss Veronica Lynn Clark. And Veronica, as I said before, led our yoga session this morning, which was a bonus for all of our attendees. So thank you for that. And in case you weren't on that, because I know there are several people on the line that were not, and for our viewing audience at home as well, I want to read Veronica's bio. Okay, so quite impressive. So here we go. Okay. So Veronica is an acclaimed healing spirit of radical self-care and spiritual growth. She is the creatrix behind Body Temple, a sensuality course for women, and the host of Liberate Your Orgasm, a podcast committed to helping women overcome sexual trauma and disconnection from their body. Veronica believes that reclaiming your sexuality and inner intimacy is the cornerstone of restoring your wholeness. By unlocking your pleasure and the power of your heart and womb, you are able to access your unlimited potential to create love, nurture, and uplift your individual and collective consciousness. Her yoga training includes Hatha, a trauma-informed yoga, power, yin, restorative, and kundalini yoga. Other professional training includes plant-based nutrition certification from Cornell University, holistic nutrition certificate from Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, foundational Ayurveda, San Diego College of Ayurveda. At present, she is an advanced student at the Trauma Institute in Boulder, Colorado, in pursuit of becoming a somatic experience practitioner. SE is a powerful physico-biological method for addressing physical and emotional trauma, PTSD, overwhelm, and stress-related conditions. As a yoga and meditation teacher, she has been recognized by Yoga Alliance as an RYT 500 certified yoga instructor since 2013 and an RYT 200 Kundalini yoga teacher since 2015. The first 14 years of her career was in various aspects of retail banking, real estate, insurance, and she has owned several businesses, including a group home for teens and a transitional home for women in recovery. The next 10 years of her professional career was spent in higher education as a globally recognized expert in design, curriculum, development, and implementation. Her 24 years of business experience combined with training in holistic modalities have proved invaluable, allowing her to coach clients from an intellectual, experiential, and intuitive perspective. Veronica holds a Master of Science degree in Adult Learning, a Bachelor of Science degree in Psychology, and a Graduate Business Certificate from Walden University. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we are so excited to hear from Veronica Lynn Clark with her topic today, which is cultivating a love affair with your pure essential nature. What a great topic, and welcome, Veronica.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm looking around. I'm just feeling a lot of deep gratitude. I see your facial expressions already, and just seeing you taking this time to be here, to support each other, to support yourselves, to elevate yourselves. This is huge. This is what this time in our lives are asking us to do, is to come together, to connect like this, and also to be able to tap into really who we are. And that's why I'm really excited that you have joined me. And I want to take off all the masks. I want to take off all the armor. And for us just to be women together, like just women with no agendas, with nothing to prove, nothing. I know you got to hear all my credentials and all that stuff. And sometimes really the truth is that's just like for the world, because sometimes the world just wants to know, what's your competence? So that's fine. My heart and my soul and what I love is connecting deeply, truly with women. And I know sometimes to do that, I have to have all the shiny stuff. Cool, that's cool. We're gonna set all that to the side and just be here together in this space. And what I'm inviting you to do is to be really vulnerable, not for me, for you to see what else is possible when you access a level of vulnerability when you know that there's no judgment, that's going to help you in other areas of your life where you know that you want to have more radiance, where you want to have more life. Because I think if we really pause, we can see that in each, in our life, in that full spectrum, that beautiful spectrum of life of ours, there's maybe places where there's a lot of flow, and then there may be spaces where you have some stagnation. Can anybody relate to that? Do you have some areas where you feel a lot of flow in your life and like, man, it's hitting on all cylinders? Maybe it's your business, like, boom, it is like, I'm good. I'm leveled up. I'm doing all kinds of things. Money's flowing in. It feels really good. And yet there could be other areas where there's some stagnation. And while we don't have to talk specifically together right now about all of what those parts are, the stagnation, I want you to feel into that. I want you to invite it in like a friend that you're saying, hey, come join me, sit next to me in this space, sit next to me, and let's learn and grow together. How does that feel for you? So I'm going to give you a little bit of context. I might use some terminology or phrase some things in a way that might sound different. And I will say that some of the things that we talk about today, maybe all of it, not all of it's going to land, because sometimes we're just not ready for that, and that's okay. So letting go of any kind of expectation and just allowing ourselves just to be fully present. That's going to be the greatest gift that we can give to each other. So instead of thinking, I'm going to invite you to feel. So I'll say feel into. And in order for us to feel into things, we have to pause. There's a soft pause. And where we start to feel into is our body. Now we're asking our body to come back online so we can access the wisdom. The mind is oftentimes the one that wants to jump on board right away and start thinking about things and try to figure it out. And we're all wise women in here. We all have had a ton of life experiences, had a ton of losses, devastation, heartbreak, a lot of wins, all kinds of stuff. And we're smart, super clever. We know how to figure our way out of stuff. Anyone relate? You figure your way out of stuff? Yeah. Think about it. You're like, I got this. We put on our masculine hat. We figure it out. Let's not do that today. Let's surrender that. I want you to just breathe, even as you're hearing me, or even if you're responding to my gestures or my body language or my facial expressions. And to see if you can just continue just breathing and just attuning with me and attuning with each other. I really believe that being in a Zoom virtual space is actually quite a gift, because now we are learning to tune in to a different part of ourselves so that we can really start to connect with each other. Can you feel this? Can you feel something in your body right now as you're starting just to kind of relax? It might also feel a little freaky and like, what's happening right now? It's getting a little, it gets weird sometimes when things are shifting and they're uncomfortable and we're invited into a space that is unfamiliar, because we can't use our mind to figure out what to do. And it becomes uncomfortable, and the tendency is that we start to contract. Just feel your body right now, maybe even closing your eyes and letting just soft breaths, just moving through your body, not hurried. And just feel if there's any contraction in your body, anywhere. And where there's contraction, see if you can just breathe into that and create some more space and opening in it. Maybe take some deeper breaths. Taking time to arrive, time to land. Maybe even smiling a little bit, a soft face, a soft expression. Yeah. And then go ahead and come back on, opening up your eyes. Let your eyes kind of just softly look around the space. Looking around at the different faces that you see, and also maybe just the photos. And just see if you can feel with your heart. I like that, Laura. I see those eyes where you kind of like, think a couple times. That's great. Yeah, that's good. Sometimes just like, okay, shifting, coming back into the present. Nice. Veronica, I saw that little expression, that yawn. That's beautiful. This is a release. What you're experiencing right now and what we're participating in is this like somatic, right? This is a body-centered experience. So we're going to go a little deeper, but this is that first initiative phase of cultivating this love affair with ourselves. If we're not able to tap into the softness and vulnerability of ourselves, it's difficult to start to cultivate that true love affair, that love affair with your inner light, with your inner radiance. And it's not the face that we put up for each other. It's not the armor. It's none of those things. It's beyond that. So does everybody have a pen and paper? Just take a moment. Thank you. Beautiful. Without putting judgment on it, because we're going to like set judgment to the side. I like this. I don't like this. We're just going to put that over to the side and just be with whatever we feel. So write down whatever you experienced thus far. Like, what was that feeling like? What was that? Try not to judge it, but just noticing whatever the sensations were. Was there any contraction? Did you feel opening? The invitation was just really to come into your body to feel what's there. And to see if we could feel each other in this space. And I'll know when you're finished because you'll just look up. I'm going to give you probably another, just about 40 seconds. You can always come back to this. Take some breaths, even as you're writing. We forget sometimes to breathe. We're just like, take a breath and hold that in. Just holding our breath. It creates more contraction. Okay, nice. So let's go ahead and come back together. And I'm going to ask for some participation. We're going to participate in a couple of different ways together. And things are going to start to move a little bit more quickly. But that first initiation was like, are you willing to jump in with me? Essentially, can you get naked with me? Right? In a short period of time. Soul naked. Raw. So that we can be beautiful. So that we can really be radiant. That feels yummy and wonderful. Okay, so what is inner intimacy? What does intimacy mean to you in relation to like yourself? What does it mean to be intimate with yourself? You can either like just put the little Zoom hand up. I'd like to hear from you, and not a whole lot of thinking about it. Remember, we're just going to feel. Yes, Wendy.
A friend of mine just the other day said during COVID, she suddenly realized she has to just be with herself because she can't make plans for anything.
Mm-hmm.
and it's really uncomfortable to be alone with herself.
Yeah.
And I went, thank God for verbalizing that. So I'm listening for those messages, and that's what I'm hearing from you.
And what is it, and thank you for sharing that too. And what is it as you fill into yourself? What does it mean for you to be intimate with yourself?
To be comfortable without necessarily moving. And that's really hard for me.
Yeah.
Really hard.
What's the hardest part?
Just being that kind of so-hum feeling. I'm not good at that. I'm really good at doing something. I'll go cook something or create something or take a long walk. I love the act of doing something.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at that feeling filled without productivity.
Without productivity. So being like having some kind of a attachment to the outcome, something that like something is being produced, something's being done that's going to produce something, right? Is that, and I'm also hearing a piece in there about surrendering, and perhaps like that's the challenge of just surrendering. Can we just do nothing at all? Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And just who else would like to chime in based off of what you just heard? Yes, Veronica.
Just being fully aware of the energy that's flowing through me and allowing it to just come from my divine connection of who I am and loving that part of me and sitting with it quietly. Whether I like to be in water, so when I'm floating or when I'm in our jacuzzi or when I'm at the ocean or somewhere near a body of water where I open up my senses to allow myself to intimately experience the beauty all around me and then the beauty within, and give myself grace in that space instead of being a lot like what Wendy said, that scheduled creator, having to do, go, be. And so really taking in moments where I can sit with a book that has nothing to do with creation. It just has everything to do with giving myself that downtime to get super quiet so I can hear those soft voices that are speaking to me, that take my ego out of my life and out of my head and take me out of my headspace, right? And connect me to my heart, and then feeling it really deep in my gut too, that instinctual space of that practice of just even right now speaking with you, Veronica, I keep having these big, deep moments of release. And that to me is a very intimate space to get with myself. It took me a long time to learn how to get there.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I can feel that you are really connected in that way, which is a beautiful expression even for those here who can relate and also haven't quite accessed that yet. I appreciate you speaking about this word permission. And this is important here because in our work, in our businesses, in our lives, like it hasn't been easy for women. We've had to and we've had to, and I'm talking in a general sense, okay? So this isn't talking about everybody as individual, unique experience. But as women, like we have to be task-oriented. We've had to be in this quote unquote, like this man's world, and it's been difficult for us to be able to bring our femininity into that space because then it showed as we're being weak, we're being vulnerable, we can be taken advantage of. We're not getting things done in that way. What happens though is that when we're blocking off our feminine creative energy, when we're blocking that, we're almost like getting drips. Like even though if you have had a lot of success, but we're in this like really masculine, goal-oriented way, then we're not even harnessing the full power and potential of who we are because our full creativity can't come online. So if you're already really successful right now, it's like, wow, how much more successful can I be? Success, whatever that means, however you relate success in your life. But when I talk about success, I'm talking about the beauty of who you are, the beauty of what you have to create and to offer and to birth into this life when you are fully connected to who you are, not the conditioning, not who your parents said that you are, not where you grew up or what your friends wanted or what you saw around you and thought that you had to comply with or make yourself into so that you could fit in, so that you could survive. I'm talking about going beyond all of that. And that's raw. And there hasn't been a lot of space for that. But it's beautiful because now we're starting to feel and know the importance of that space being created. A soft container for us to be able to be women in our sexuality, in our sensuality, in our fullness. In our sexuality, to be safe in our sexuality, to be safe in our sensuality, and thus be able to express our creativity in a more full and uplifting and aligned way that nourishes us in every way possible. That we allow ourselves to have pleasure on purpose. That we give ourselves permission to just read the book, to just take the walk, to make love without having to orgasm. Just for the pleasure of the sensations, whether that's with a partner or with ourselves. Ultimately, it's an invitation to make love to life. And the only way to truly do that, because we can all project something. We can all put our faces up and our pictures up of all the awesome things that we're doing on social media, and we can do all of those things, and people can come to our beautiful homes, and people can come to see our businesses, and they can see the cars that we drive, and we can see, look at all my success. See all my success. And we can also still have that emptiness inside. This beauty, this love affair can only be done when we are so willing to surrender the parts of us that we're unwilling to be vulnerable. We're unwilling to be raw because we thought that wasn't safe. Is this landing with you? Can you hear me? Can you feel what I'm saying to you? Yeah. Take a moment and just feel your body right now. And just see if you can just close your eyes and just go inside of you. Go inside of your heart. Go inside of your belly. Go inside of your womb space. All those places that were forbidden, that were not invited into the boardroom, into the office space. Go into those spaces right now. Just breathe into them, like you're breathing life and you're breathing water, love, cleansing, breathe. When you exhale and you're just pulling your belly back in, you're just pulling your belly back in towards your navel, towards your spine. I want you to just, even as you're sitting there, just kind of start, if you feel an impulse to move or to rock, I want you to give yourself permission. Notice if there's any rigidity in your body. Are your hands clutched? Are you holding on to something tight? Maybe open your mouth a little bit and just let out some sound through your mouth. Where can you give yourself permission right now to just open your body up a little bit more? To breathe a little more life into it. I want you to just open up your mouth just slightly so that your jaws are not tight. Your bottom teeth aren't touching the top teeth. Yeah, good. Just relaxing. And then gently, I want you to start coming back up. Start bringing yourself back up, coming back up from the womb space, coming back up into your heart. You're going to come all the way back up into your throat and then come back to the eyes. When you start to open your eyes, good, yeah. You can start looking around the space, adjusting your eyes. This is a beautiful orientation. It's coming back into the present. When you go into your body in the way that you did, you give yourself permission to do that, you are accessing this transpersonal space of the void, which is also where you coexist with all of nature, all of the cosmos, everything. This is the space where there is no matter. It's just pure potentiality. That's it. Safe, beautiful space. Women, we have come together for lifetimes where women have come together to heal and to open and to nurture and to nourish each other and to comfort each other. Not to comfort each other in a coddling kind of a way or to keep us stuck in our ways or in our beliefs about ourselves, but in a way that uplifts us, that says, I want to see the beauty that you have to bring. I want to see what you want to birth. And we celebrate each other and we love each other and we're not worried about being competitive because we know that there's more than enough for each of us. And we all know that we have our own unique voice, and that's what we're helping each other to bring forward. And the only way to do that fully is to love ourselves enough, cultivating that love affair with us. So, Heather, in a moment, will you be willing to just break us into some breakout rooms? Sure. So that we can do a little activity. You'll talk, you're going to share amongst each other, and then we're going to come back together in the big group and talk. So I have a couple of questions for you, and this is what you're going to discuss together in your group. You'll have, let's say about, how many people will we have in there? Let's see. So you'll have about 2.5 minutes each to share, okay? So I want you first, when you get in there, you're gonna take about 3 minutes to answer the questions. Remember, we're not coming from here. We're not coming from the mind. Be surprised, like surprise yourself, like, where the hell did that come from? I don't even know. That was amazing. That's juicy. Like, get down into your sexual organs, get down into your womb, like answer from that space, okay? Yeah, that's where I want you to answer from. So not from here, don't think too much about it. So you don't need a whole lot of time, just write, okay? So here's some of the questions. What holds you back from experiencing deep intimacy with yourself? What holds you back from experiencing deep intimacy with yourself? Try not to filter. You're writing from your womb space, then you're going to be writing from your truth. What holds you back? Here's the next question. How do you currently give yourself permission to experience and express your sexuality? And this is the third question here. What role does your sexuality play in your life? That's probably the second question, and that third would really be, how do you give yourself permission? But so what role does your sexuality play? This is important. It's important to know where you're coming from. These are some deep questions. Some of you may not know each other. This might be the first time you've ever seen each other. Feel into that. Yeah. No judgment zone. I also want to share that as an ongoing agreement that we never share anyone else's stories. This is all contained within this space. We never share anyone else's stories. We only share our own stories. even when we're within here. So for example, when we come back, we don't say, during my group, so-and-so said this, and it really, you know, lit me up or what have you. Like, that's their story. We don't share that. Let it resonate and speak from your truth. That makes sense? Okay.
Veronica, how many people would you like in a room? 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, I'm thinking let's just have 3 people in a room to give them
Okay.
enough time. Yep.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we have those 3 questions. You're gonna each have about 2.5 minutes to answer, and to share. Please, this is the other piece. We're in there just to listen. We're holding space. There's no giving advice, right? Like, that's a whole nother piece. So there's no giving advice or comment, you know, the comments or the nods might be, oh, like, just, you know, this is a beautiful gesture, just like I feel you, not head nodding, but, you know, not necessarily, no advice giving. It's just your opportunity just to be heard. And if you're just listening, it's your opportunity to hold space for a woman who is like sharing something with you, something her heart. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to get ready to break you out into sessions, and then we're going to come back together as a group. Take your armor off. Be raw.
All right, everybody. So you're going to get a notification on your screen inviting you to enter a breakout room. So please accept that. And I would say for anybody watching the recording of this, really ponder those questions as well. Okay, for yourself, or if you're viewing with somebody else, please do the same with them. And then we're going to come back together in just a few minutes. So Veronica, you said probably about 10 minutes or so we'll be in that room. Okay.
Yes.
All right, everybody, we'll see you, and here we go.
Look at all those beautiful faces. Welcome back. Woo! First of all, give a little rain down love to yourselves for doing that. Yes, this is how we like sprinkle, and then move that body a little bit. Yeah. Good job. Good. Oh. Okay. So I want to hear from a couple of you. This is your chance to just share. We don't have a lot of time right now. In a moment, I am going to share with you some other opportunities so we can express more. But right now, and with what was, I want to hear what showed up for you in those reflection questions. And what was that like sharing with other women, expressing your truth? So go ahead and wave your hand, and then and then you can unmute yourself. Don't all jump at once. Yes, Carol.
Okay, so just to start from the beginning is I kind of came in late, so I missed a little bit of the beginning, and I had my picture up. So when you were even talking, I felt like a big thing for me with this feminine energy is, and the intimacy, when I had my picture up, I didn't feel connected to anybody. So when we went in our group, I just shared, which is so interesting, this topic is I've been really struggling with, you know, my masculine and feminine energy. And I just had recently a thing that came up with a childhood wound about being adopted and feel abandoned. And so what I realized is that when I'm in that, when I'm in that mode of, in the masculine energy, I realize it's just protection for me. It's like automatic instinct of like protecting myself. And so when you were talking about the feeling statements, that is something that I've been so working on, because I realize that my energy is off balance and I'm working from the masculine. And I even was sharing, like, I have my sticky note, like with my feeling statements, because I know that's where, you know, like being in the feminine energy, that's where my power comes from.
Yes.
And, you know, like when I'm not in that feminine energy, that's when I feel like really imbalanced. And so I've been really working on this, like very intently, like over the last couple of months. And I know a lot of it just results from having that. And I think what blocks me with like the intimacy that I hold for myself, it's all around like wanting to protect myself. And like Colleen got emotional from my share, and what brought that up to me, because I got really emotional too, and I feel like when we're in the safe space with our women, like we can just let our guard down and just like be intimate without judgment, and you know, it's like a safe environment for us just to be, and it gives me goosebumps. So I just, for me, it's a lot of like a block for me just for self-protection of not getting hurt. And what I'm really trying to do now is embrace it. Like when I'm feeling it come up, even though it's like uncomfortable, like embracing it and like getting back to the center of being balanced in my feminine energy, if that makes sense.
100%. It was
Thank
so
you for letting me
beautifully.
share.
Oh, Carol, I'm kissing you and rubbing your face and your shoulders and hugging you, because that is just beautiful articulation. Thank you. Thank you. So much I can say about that. In essence of time, I won't address it at the moment, but I have an invitation for us to come back together again. So thank you for sharing that. Who else would like to share? I'm going to take just 2 more short shares, and then we're gonna wrap this session up, because I know we've got some other beautiful presenters. Nicole, thank you.
See, I'm just kind of opposite of what Carol just talked about. I have no problem expressing my sexuality out in public and to people and around men and women in general. But when I get into these women groups, I don't express it as much, because I don't want to feel like I don't want somebody else to think that I feel like I'm better than somebody, or I've grown more, or I express more or less or whatever. I think I do less of it within a women's group than I do out in general public.
Thank you for speaking into that. And I can resonate with that. That has been an experience that I have also had before. And I just want to just leave this quick mention about dimming your light or your shine, because your sexuality is that light within you, right? It's your light. And so again, just in our time, I won't be able to get too much into that, but just remember how there are ways that we can block our own shine, especially when we are amongst other people, because we're afraid to be, as bright as we truly are. So, okay, thank you. One more brief share. What's a nugget that just like, is in your heart? Brief share. Veronica?
Just giving my younger self permission for like thanking myself for holding space in all these places. Like some of the women shared childhood pains, things that went through, like from other women that came at me that were negative and hard, and dimming my light and stopping the voices that I was used to hearing as a young child and as I got older from other people saying, you cast a really big shadow. And so people around you can't, like, just the words that sometimes can ring in my ears, practicing just saying, thank you for holding that space for me. And I appreciate that part of me, because that was a protection mode. And building a new relationship with myself that just wants to let it shine, and not worried that it won't be received in the way it's intended.
Thank you. That's a lot of responsibility to try to hold so much for what other people think and what we, want to actually feel. That's a lot. And if we can just breathe into just allowing ourselves just to be, knowing that we're not responsible for how other people see us, that we are being our best when we can just truly show up in our fullness and our aliveness, giving ourselves the permission just to shine as bright as possible. So thank you so much for diving in. And there's so much more. We're just barely touching the surface, just scratching it. And I'm going to turn it over to Heather for just a moment, just to talk about a special gift.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Veronica. We appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for being in the breakout rooms and sharing, your authentic selves that way. And we do have a special drawing that Veronica is offering. It's for a 45-minute coaching session for one lucky participant. So we're going to draw for that, and then she'll share anything else or anything else she would like you to know. And then we're going to get moving on to our next session this morning, because that start in just a few minutes at 9:30 as well. So, all right. So Veronica, for the 45-minute coaching session, I'm going to ask you to choose a number between 1 and 16, and then I will tell you who the lucky winner is.
The number is 8.
The number is 8. That is going to be Carol. Yay!
Wow! Fantastic. Wonderful. Carol will be in contact. So great. Thank you.
I'll get you Carol's contact information, and you guys can connect for that. Congratulations, Carol. That is awesome. And Veronica, anything else you wanted to share? I know an invitation.
Yeah, there will be a question and answer session following this. It's going to be on Monday in the evening. So if you'll check your email, Heather will share with you. There's an opportunity for us to come back together. We'll have about an hour and a half just to talk even more about this. So it'll be an interactive conversation about what our sensuality, our sexuality, really harnessing our light and truly cultivating that love affair. I'll be sharing some practices with you, and we're going to be able to talk more about what do we do. Like I said, this was just scratching the surface. So I appreciate you. I love you. I am so grateful to witness your vulnerability. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah! Many blessings to all of you. Okay, enjoy the rest of your sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Veronica. And for the rest of you, we will see you in just a couple minutes for our next session. Thank you so much for being with us on this one here.